Thanks, Basil. I just want to give you a bit of an insight into the Saturday afternoon team. We're a bunch of unique individuals.
Hello and welcome to episode 25 of the Unique Individuals podcast. We are back once again. Good to have all the boys alongside me. How are we going, lads?
Yeah, going well, mate. Should be a good episode. Can't wait.
Yeah, lovely to be back. Can't wait to get into it.
Good to be here, boys. Well, 25 episodes, fair bit, but great to be back again, boys.
It definitely is. We'll get straight into it. Obviously, no round 9 punishments for any of the individuals this week, unfortunately. But hopefully, maybe this week we can get a few more punishments for the pleasure of the fans out there.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, well, yeah. But we'll get into, I guess, what's been happening with us recently. We'll start with Connor because usually it takes the longest, so we'll get him out of the way early. Connor, once again on the list. Looks like you got quite a few things that have happened. I guess take it away.
Look, I don't have that much to say really, so I'll make it brief today. But played footy Saturday down at Kevin Bartlett Reserve against Richmond Central. Very depleted our side. I think there were 16 unavailabilities between the seniors and the twos. And we really had no one down back, so it didn't look great, but had the honour of having a bit of a leadership role as the vice captain on the day, which that's a bit worrying, the fact that I was vice captain. I think Sugar, Cameron Marcroft, shout out to the big fella, was captain, but yeah, we sort of shared the duties, I guess, but yeah, we had a bad loss on the day. I like to think it wasn't reflective of our leadership, but, you know, let's be honest, it probably was a little bit. Could I have done things a bit better? Yeah. But we lost, we were belted. And
what was the score?
Belted to the, I don't know, belted to the tune of 158 points. And I knew we were... Like, you want to go on with hope, but I knew we weren't going to win, before the game, which...
As a vice captain, that's a vice captain. So.
Well, I just looked around in the warm-up and I was like, shit, where is it? This is a far different team to round one, but hopefully we get a few back this week.
Yeah,
I've said that for a few weeks now, but we've been decimated, particularly in the defence, so we can prevent a lot of goals from happening if we just get a few more boys back there, and it looks like this week we'll get a bit of respite, bit of a reprieve, and hopefully get a much better result. But we're away again against Canterbury, so I don't think they're not as good as Richmond Central, but they're probably not far off it. So it was really grim day.
Yeah, well, I made the trip down and came along, and I think your assessment was pretty spot on. It was pretty bleak viewing, I reckon. But then again, when you're a depleted side, it's hard in situations like that. I think Hugo probably could have got a second run out there playing. I think with his efforts on the boundary, I even, proposed him the idea of running out as a 19th man in that situation, because I think you guys probably were depleted enough that you probably needed it.
From a team manager perspective, it was a bit disappointing for the boys to go down like that. Look, I mean, going into the game, it was tough trying to find a few. There was we had 4 people playing their first game for the club, which including our man Mason, shout out to him. But it's tough when you got a couple of boys that come in and never played a game AFL before. Shout out to Regan and the boys. And everyone had a crack though and ran out the game, and it's tough. It's a tough game to have under lights. Really, you've got that one under lights. It's cold. Half time it's 70 or 80 points. If you say you want to be there, you're probably lying. But anyway, the boys worked hard, and hopefully on to next week. It's tough in the Div 3 now that they've went up, and there's a lot of the handy sides, but. Connor, shout out to Little Ronda in the midfield, worked hard. Snuck in with the 4th best for the game, so had a crack. Did the young man? Got dropped on his head once, which photo will be shared to socials.
Going pretty well. Might be up there in the VNF.
Turn it up.
No. It wasn't. Look, I didn't have to do a lot. I played alright, but I didn't have to do a lot probably to get in the best because there was obviously 4 or 5 that were going to be no chance to. And it's tough to pick the best on a day like that. But I don't know. We move on. But Sunday as well went Collingwood GWS. Saw Mansell there in the old MCG merch shop.
Sniper.
You know, I wasn't looking for you, but just saw the big head of yours, and thought I better check her out. But went there with Arch, Simo, obviously another player full of Trobe, good man. Who else did we have along? Couple of Simo's mates as well. So. It was good
Just
day.
lads.
Yeah, good
Did you know
day.
the names or?
No, they're actually girl mates. But I don't mean to stitch you up, but I didn't really talk to them too much. But it was a good day. I had a fair few pints before. What was it called? I don't remember what the pub was called, but great man Connell Barrett was working there at the time and gave us a few cheeky ones under the table. So full credit to Connell, and hopefully his workplace doesn't hear this, or else he might not have a job. But great man, and let us indulge in a few beverages. But there was someone else at the footy that I'm missing. I forgot about someone.
Webby.
Oh, Webby, yeah. That's clutch by you. Webby, the great man, obviously senior player for Trobe as well, and lives on Res, and good fella. But it was a good day, but Collingwood far too good on the night.
Love it. We're getting to Hugo now. Hugo, what's been happening with you, mate? Obviously footy as well for the ones. How was that for you?
Yeah, no, it was alright. I think we lost by 4 goals roughly in the end.
Not much in it.
We had a shocking second quarter which cost us, which is frustrating, but that's alright. Then had to run the boundary for the 2s straight after. Just to touch on how bleak it was, I think it was halfway through the third quarter and I was running across Blakey, who was the water carrier, and we were sort of celebrating that they weren't down by 150 points yet. We were happy that it was under at that point, but
it was on its way.
Yeah, it was on its way. It was bleak, but once we get the troops back, they'll be fit and firing up again. But I didn't do a lot apart from that. Watched the Saints game on the Sunday, which was grim. Then basketball was we had a forfeit.
Also grim.
Yeah, grim. We take a win, but grim. So
and now because of that forfeit, we're in Div 2 now, which is very unexpected.
That's grim.
Yeah,
that's really grim.
That's I don't
that's
know.
got a potential for some more 150 point losses. But
I don't know how. I don't know what they've seen in us.
Yeah, it's been a meteoric rise really from Div 4 to Div 2, and potentially Div 1 in the next week if we get another forfeit, or
we're actually got the fixture now.
Or God forbid, win a game.
No, we got the fixture now, but Div 1. Last Sunday we saw a couple of boys, or 2 teams, in
80 to
in
60
Div 1.
odd.
Yeah, and they were just draining threes for fun.
The big fella, shout out to number 11 in the blue, went 7 from 9 while we were watching from the LBR.
He was
crazy stuff.
Draining just for fun, and no celebration, just that's what I do.
Yeah, it was scary to think that.
Oh, it's good to watch though.
Yeah, but that
was
was Division 1-2 grading. It's scary to think that
we're
a couple of the weaker sides in that competition will be playing against us. So anyway, we'll see how we go and we'll have a crack, won't we, Mansell?
Yeah, and 7 for 9 is also known as my shooting performance on Monday against JMAC. Woohoo!
7 for 9. I don't know what part of 7
in the 1 for 1.
4 from 25.
Forgetting the digit, 7 from 99, I think it was. But
Spain, I think. Well, obviously, Mansell, you like to bring it up yourself. So let's talk about the basketball challenge. Let's get into you. So had the basketball challenge against JMAC on Monday, and it turned out to be a successful day for you. You took away the 3-point contest and the 1v1. Your reflection.
Yeah, well, when I said 7 for 9, I mean the 1v1. I don't mean the 3-point contest because that was another story in itself. But yeah, no, it was a it was a good day. I did what I said I was going to do, and I proved it right there. Basically, if you talk shit, you get shat on. So Yeah, that's...
To be fair though, JMAC was dishing out the trash talk after like hitting a mid-range shooter. And I'm like, well,
He got a little layup. He was down like 9-2. And I'm like,
okay.
hey, let's go!
Let's go, baby! Come on!
And I was like, well,
Okay.
somewhere in Spain. But Mansell, I mean,
Composed.
you know, tore him apart to be honest.
Yeah.
In the 1v1,
Embarrassed him.
pulled his pants down and
Quite literally.
followed after your man Nathan Murphy, mate, and pulled his pants down, embarrassed him in front of. There was no crowd, but thanks anyway, guys.
Instagram
On the
live.
live stream, yeah.
Instagram Live worked out for us.
There's a lot of
Well, now it's on the socials, so it's...
There's a lot of trash talk going on
Everyone
from
can see
Instagram
it.
Live. People getting into JMAC. Home court advantage, I guess, for Mansell.
I mean, no one wears an arm sleeve in a friendly.
That copped a lot of
a lot of hate, yeah. And I think Nazi and Cam were saying,
Brick City.
Brick City building a house when J-Mac was shooting for threes.
Yeah.
Well, with the 3-point contest, I think you went first, Jackson, and you hit 4 from 25.
Yeah.
And we thought a bit under par. We
It's
thought,
still a bit grim. We thought
But it's a
6 or
score.
7 would be.
I got better as I went
yeah,
on.
it's a score. You got on the board.
They're chasing. He's chasing.
Yeah, and he's chasing.
And he rattled him, didn't it?
Rattled him
Look,
big
out of his
time.
25, he hit 2. And I'm going to say
10 were air balls, I reckon.
maybe 12. I reckon
Yeah.
nearly half. I reckon nearly half of his shots were air balls. And look,
And you hit maybe 1 or 2, Mansell. So like that's a confidence booster.
Yeah.
You went far off.
yeah,
But,
to think like...
J-Mac was off by a fair bit with most of
Yeah,
them.
but to be fair, like Mansell drills the backboard. JMAC doesn't make the backboard. So it was a lot of air balls there, and he was trying to shoot too quick. I think just kept putting them up. I think he went 5 from 5 air balls at one rack. Incredible sort of stuff, and there was no words really. The live stream, like we almost had to cover the camera and say, guys, you don't want to see this.
this is hard to watch.
But anyway, I mean, overall.
It was good laughs.
Mansell gets the win, and I think JMAC, he
Back to the drawing board. He said, and he
yeah,
said
he
maybe
lit a little fire, saying
he
it might
said
be.
maybe sometime semester 2 we run it back. I mean, I'd be down for it. I
I think he just wants another sniff. I think he...
I think he needs one.
think he does after that before.
I think he's trying to get some sort of credibility. Like I just tore him to shreds, and he's trying
Well, I
to
reckon-
fight his little way back. And
Mansell, I reckon.
That's so self-indulgent.
I reckon,
Oh,
Mansell. If you're that confident, I reckon you can easily take him on again.
I'm only just speaking the facts. Like I'm only just saying what happened out there, and I saw what I saw. I did my job, and
Would you be willing to run it back?
Would you be willing to take on someone else?
I'll obviously keep going with the basketball season and all that stuff, and see how that goes. And just love my basketball at the moment. So
Complete
Easy
avoidance of the
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Professional.
Media trained.
Media trained, yeah. He's quite used to it. Colin, do you have anything to say before? You had the hand up.
Well, look, like I know JMAC tried to light a few. So when there's a bit of smoke, there's fire. So watch that space, and like as we touched on, he'll be very disappointed. JMAC, like I think he expected better.
Well,
I don't think he's a superstar by any stretch of the imagination, but I think he can perform better. But really, to compare that matchup, it was sort of like a few weeks ago in a VFLW game. I think Darabin, someone else. I think the score was like
Melbourne.
4-6.
Might have been like no. There was one that was like 14-10 and
right.
14 points or 10 points straight, and you win with that, and it's like. Do we sing the song? Like that's how I felt in the 3-point contest. I was like,
Mansell won, but at what cost?
like I didn't really say good job to Mansell because he didn't really do that well. But
Give it a break.
Mate, I'm your teammate for crying out loud. Show me some love.
I know, but you need to improve from that, Mansell, if you're gonna take on anyone else. But lucky you just got pretty mediocre play on the day.
Well, to be fair, JMAC in the warm-up hit 2 in a row, and then he's hit 2
Once
from the next 25. So I think the pressure got to
The
him.
camera
The
present.
camera and pressure and a bit of chirp got in his head because he is better than that, I believe.
And Sugar has crunched the numbers here.
Yeah, I've done some crunching of numbers for the 3-point contest.
Oh, he's
in
taken over
particular.
Mansell's role here.
So Mansell shot 16%. 4 for 25, 16%. You take the chocolates though.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Was JMAC got 2 for 25,
Yeah.
8%.
8 out of 100.
So for our poor viewers, they watched a total of 12% of the 3-pointers taken go in. It's a disgrace.
we actually apologise.
Yeah,
We should have like a warning before trigger warning. Horse shooting coming up.
I can defend myself though, right? JMAC was warming up for about 15 minutes. Basically, the first moment that you saw me on camera, I had not taken a shot.
Took your sweet time to get ready.
Well, I had to put my contacts in, so...
Oh, yeah, bless him. But trigger warning. Parental guidance is recommended for young people.
Mature audience is required.
Yeah.
Nah, it was good fun though. And
graphic scenes.
Violence.
Overall, congratulations, Jackson. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think we have to run it back. It's although I don't think the viewers want to go through that pain again.
Yeah, maybe we might create a highlights reel next time. And it'll go for like 12 seconds.
Oh, boy.
Oh, that's good.
Goodness.
Jackson, you've also had some volleyball coaching this week. How was that for you, mate?
Yeah, well, big win yesterday. The team I've got this year, this term, we've got a pretty good team. I'm taking the state runners-up team with the addition of 2 state players that play. So they're a very talented side and, undefeated to start the year. We played our rivals in St. Monica's yesterday, who hadn't lost a set for the whole season, and we beat them 3-0. So exciting times here, and now we're 4-0, game clear on top of the ladder. Some potential there to do well in this season.
Potential to be a premiership winning coach.
Potentially, hopefully, just take a beat week
Did
by week.
you fall just short last year, was it?
Yeah, well, kind of
It was
Yes.
semi-finals.
So we lost in the semi-finals. That team actually, majority played in the senior team, and they actually just won the flag. So
there's a bit of success within the group.
yeah, and this is actually the first win I've had against St. Monica's. So hopefully
Aren't they rivals?
they are rivals.
Yeah.
They're basically our crosstown rivals.
How'd you celebrate?
Pretty crazy scenes. Had to tell them to tone it down a little bit because there's a job ahead, and
I like it.
I said the likelihood is that we could play them in the grand final. I said we don't want to be acting like this now. We'll celebrate it when the real time is there, and I have every confidence in them that they can do well and keep progressing and potentially win a flag.
Yeah, it's like don't carry on now. We've won the battle.
We haven't won the
St.
war.
Monica still want to take us on in the war.
Job done. Job's not done yet.
Yeah,
Exactly what I said. I said the job's not done.
That's fair enough.
No, that's good signs for the side. But I mean, moving on. Owen, what have you been up to, mate? Obviously, we'll all talk about Richmond Geelong in a bit, but obviously footy, you've copped a bad run. I don't mean to laugh at the scene of the crutches, sort of hobbling into the basketball stadium, but tell us about the game.
No, it's worth laughing. I mean, every week now I just get injured. But yeah, the night before Richmond Geelong was a tough game for me, I'd say, being a Geelong supporter. But it's good to go to the game with all you boys. Look, I appreciate the Burns boys not completely rubbing it into my face. I mean, I don't know.
We celebrated goals, but after we
after the game, you want to talk to me? I just said, Blair, just give me right now, it'd be perfect.
It took you a good half an hour to
once we started kicking the footy outside the gym, I was fine.
Yeah.
I was just lining up on here. I was giving him a few jump balls. I was like taking out my anger on him.
But
I'll tell the viewers this, but there was one where I don't know. I didn't mean to do this, but I got him in the sweet spot. I was just like, I don't know what the context was, but I just got the ball and I picked it right at your nuts, and you were down for a good 3 minutes, I reckon.
Backyard cricket style.
After what we witnessed on the G with Ollie Henry, you can't be doing stuff like that. But yeah, Hugo was down his haunches for a fair while.
It's a low point for me. I apologise at the scene, but it was a.
I mean, to be fair, Hugo got a little bit of redemption there.
Yeah, he kicked me in the
drilled
eyes.
it in the backside, so in the rectum. But I mean, following that, I've got a, there was something poor from me as well.
No.
My footy days have been long past, and the check side wasn't really required, and it's bad bounce, a tip rat sort of Stephen Milne bounce. and it's hit the police car, and
Oh, yeah.
it rattled me a bit. I think we left Mansell to go and pick it up.
Yeah.
You're quite nervous with the
Oh,
police around the scene as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. You know, you're never really comfortable when you're sort of breaking the law. But anyway, especially when people are sort of yelling, trying to point it out.
We shouldn't get into it, should we?
No, we probably shouldn't get into
Shall
it.
we move on?
Yeah, we'll move on to the game anyway. Yeah, just move on to your footy.
No, but the game was obviously not the result I wanted, but
It was good to all be there together.
that was good.
Obviously, there was a bit of conjecture about our seating. We were a bit nervous, a bit rattled. We sat in reserve seating for a while and kind of got moved down a row in front of us.
I think those boys were talking shit. Like, I don't think there was reserved seats, but I went with it.
But
But like
That's right. We worked it
they were
out.
just like smiling, like they were lying. Like you'd tell that they weren't telling.
for the viewers,
They didn't tell the full story.
Connor got separated from us. We had the row of four of us there, and Connor had to sit down the front row with a few randoms.
And after the game as well, I was
he got lost.
I was coughing up a lung, and I went to get some water, and then I looked back and there's no one there, and phone had just gone flat. So I waited like right near the pole for a while.
It would have been 20 minutes, and I was like, "Where's Connor?" I'm like, and then
It took that.
I'll just call him.
Cheers, boys. Took you that long to realise that.
I was like,
I could have been in gutter
No,
somewhere.
but to be fair, Hugo threw you to the wolves a bit here because I said, "Oh, where's Connor?" Like, I went to where's Connor. I'll give him a call. Hugo's like, "Oh, his phone's flat." I'm like, "Oh, well."
Yeah, you could do that.
He had that inside intel. And look, I was like, "Oh, jeez."
At least you knew.
We've been here before.
Oh gosh.
I think it was Spin-Off Festival afterwards I searched for Connor for 40 odd minutes out the front.
I just waited outside the gate, and
He
then
was at the wrong gate.
I waited for you to go there.
Anyway, we've lost him a lot of times with flat phone.
Oh, it's quite usual, isn't it?
And yeah, we finally found him, but poor bugger wasn't in a great way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, but I'm feeling better now, so it's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, but obviously your footy.
Yeah,
Ryan,
footy. So Saturday against St Bernard's, they came up from Div 4 actually because they've been doing well there. At our home deck, which was good. Playing half back again, so feeling quite comfortable there. Late in the first quarter, I get crunched in a tackle, and one of the guys steps on my ankle, and I hear like a little snap of the. Well, it's not a snap, but like a little tweak.
Just a sensation,
Yeah,
never great.
I was like, oh, I can't walk on this. So I had to go to the boundary, get it taped up. Trainer was like, oh, you should probably just, rest it up for the rest of the game. But I want to get back out there. She taped up my ankle that tight that I could barely feel my ankle, and it was that numb. It was a struggle all game, but I got back out there, and I don't know what you guys are laughing at.
No, it was you that started it.
I don't know what you guys are laughing about, but
No, you got back out there. I mean, and
yeah, got
Get back out there.
Bulleen Templestowe, first goal for the club as well.
Yeah, that late in the last quarter, bit of an Eddie Betts kind of kick from the pocket, a little dribbler, right in front of the family as well, who were on the sidelines of the pocket. That was just a nice little goal, icing on the cake to a great team win. But really enjoying footy other than getting injured every week. That's just the way it is. I guess Blair, we haven't got you, mate. What's been happening with you?
Well, there's a good reason why we haven't went to me, and there's been nothing happening.
Just team manager stuff, uni and whatnot.
Sort of a bit of uni, bit of team managing. Obviously, had to distribute Hugo's fluoro and his little whistle for the boundary umpiring, so that was quite a role I played.
Crucial part of the role.
Jazz's cousin, shout out to Vi, her birthday on Saturday, so went there after footy. Obviously we had the late game, so went there and had a little ice cream cake to celebrate the occasion, and
can't go wrong with the ice cream cake.
So that was a lovely little family occasion, and then obviously on to Sunday. I wasn't going to play basketball, but rocked up to play a good role in the scoring box, and the other team didn't turn up, which was good. So we were sort of sitting there for 10, 15, and the umpire said to me, "Look, no one's here, so looks like it's going to be a forfeit." I'm like, "Oh, that's good." And then we sort of just shot around a bit. Well, obviously not myself, and we watched a bit of basketball, but that was all right. And then, apart from that, really, I don't think a heap. Doing a little bit of work on the Back Pocket Banner podcast. Connor and myself, we, our other brainchild, I guess you'd say. Formerly was very active, but it's getting back on that, so that's been good. And yeah, just uni work, probably a bit of procrastination. Yeah.
Nice.
Not much really, so yeah, that's why we didn't go to me. Tigers got up, that was a highlight really.
No, happy man.
Yeah,
fair enough.
we'll chat about footy, I mean, when we get
Yeah.
to the AFL round, and Mansell, bring us in, mate, I reckon.
Well, yeah, exactly. You know, before we get onto that game, there has been some big news that has come out of the footy world this morning in regards to Alistair Clarkson. He has stepped away from the North Melbourne Football Club, effective immediately for physical and emotional reasons. Boys, I just want to get your thoughts on the situation.
Yeah, well, it's a complete mess. It's been reported Hawthorn's doing the investigation when the claim is against Hawthorn as a club. So it's just a cop-out. The AFL should be investigating this. And Clarko, Fagan, and who's the other bloke? Burden?
I am not 100% sure.
I think it's Burden. It might, not Brett, but someone. His last name's Burden or
What
something.
Spider Burden are you talking about?
Can't remember, but there's three.
Okay.
They're the three blokes
Okay.
whose the accusations have been made of, and we know how bad the accusations are if they are true. But yeah, like the AFL should be investigating this. Like, I don't know why Hawthorn haven't even interviewed Clarko, Fagan, or the other bloke who's
Three
been.
blokes in question, really.
Yeah, like you would think your first protocol is to investigate those three blokes and ask them what happened for their version of events.
Yeah, you think you do that 6 months ago.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've said that the thing was supposed to be done by the grand final, then it was supposed to be done by Christmas, then by round 1, and we're sitting here round 10, Clarko's taken leave. Like, it's an absolute mess. So it's a really messy situation to begin with anyway. But yeah, it's shocking all round, really.
Mm-hmm. No, I think you've summed it up perfectly there. I mean, yeah, it's just a mess for North, especially
Yeah, North are in a real tricky spot because
with coaches, players, and just
firstly they're not getting
success,
the on-field success, and they got Clarko as a hope to change that and turn things around a bit. And as soon as they signed him on, really this come out, and since then it's really just that North Melbourne just got caught up in it really, and it's tough because all of a sudden now you got Clarko. I think undisputed is one of the greatest coaches sort of the modern time, and you know obviously they threw all their eggs in the basket to get him there, and then to make the decision to potentially sack him for the allegations against him and Hawthorn is a massive decision to make. And when you sign him on for he's signed on for another 4 or 5 years, you're in a tricky spot here. He's taken leave from the club, and Brett Ratton comes in and fills the void for a while, but it's going to be interesting what happens really. Look, I think right now it's nearly fair to say it's unlikely we'll see him back as head coach for a long time again. I reckon things are going to sort of eventuate and it's not going to be good. And he might come back and coach later this year or whenever. I think there was mention of that, but I don't think long term he's going to be coaching at North Melbourne for the next 4 years. But I don't know what you boys reckon, but it's just it's an ordinary situation, and the AFL probably needs to step in and have a bit of integrity and sort this out really, because it's just been dragging on, and no one wins from literally Clarko. He's got mental health and well-being sort of the priority for stepping away. No one wins when there's just allegations and nothing clear cut for months and months and months, and there's a lot of burden on him and his family and the club and everyone involved when there's no answers. So.
Yeah, it's really hard to know how long he's going to take the leave of absence for, because the sort of conclusion of the findings might come out and the investigation might eventually be over. But I think the whole point of it, sort of getting onto it, they were meant to kind of get it not out of the way, but sort of sort it out and see what had truly happened, and so Clarko wasn't caught up in anything, and it's been a really rocky start to his North Melbourne coaching career, and like you said, that obviously doesn't help the players as well or other coaches, and really everyone at North Melbourne and the AFL probably need to step in and get it sorted, and I don't know, take responsibility for finding the truth, I guess.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll move into the round 8 action. that we've just had over the course of the weekend, and we'll start off with the game that we attended that we've already mentioned. Richmond with a 4-goal win.
Was it round 9? Sorry.
Yeah, I think because I mixed up. Round 9. I can't read properly.
Round 9. That's alright.
Yeah, Richmond with a 4-goal win over the Cats. Dustin Martin 4 goals and 19 disposals. Connor, we'll start with you. I know you were really pleased with Dusty's performance on Friday night.
Oh, it was just like, obviously we were there. It was just really good to see Richmond play, a brand of footy that I believe they were capable of, and I think a lot of people did, but it's been missing for large parts of the year. So it was really good to see them, string 2 games together, but not only that, play good against a good side, and a couple of the older boys in Dusty, and Kochi kicked 3 as well, so he was pretty handy. But across the board, I thought it was the best, 4-quarter performance for the year. They'd played in patches, but hopefully this can spark something now for them. And after, a really slow start, they can get things going. But if anything, it just gives them a lot of confidence that they can, beat and compete with the best sides.
Yeah, and while I think Geelong played poorly as well, I think Richmond's pressure from pretty much the start was good of that. We're sitting at 16th before the game, I think it was, and coming against a side that's probably top 3 in the favourites for the flag, and a very good side in Geelong, reigning premiers. It was good to see us firstly have a crack. I didn't really care to lose the game. If we went away and lost by a goal or 2, it hurts, but also it's on the right track, and we sort of took it up to them. So the pressure was really good, and Geelong, lots of players. We'll go to you, Owen, in a second, but lots of players in Zach Tui and guys like that are normally very reliable and consistent, sort of had some ordinary games and were just making uncharacteristic sort of errors. But it was obviously, as a Richmond fan, I was very pleased to get the win and see the boys sort of backfiring. And we haven't really seen Dusty like that in a little while. And disappointing to see Hopper go down with an injury, which obviously hurts a lot when we're already sort of struggling in that department. But good to get a dub and at your demise.
Yeah, it was a disappointing result for Geelong and a night overall. I think we won setting clearances. I think we won quite convincingly.
Total clearances was like 15 differential or something.
So we were doing, I think, things right in the midfield, and especially with the very young midfield we had. I think Tom Atkins was our most experienced midfielder on Friday night. So I don't mind seeing Tanner Bruin and Ollie Henry, and Jai Clark was debuted last Friday night. Unfortunately, it was medical sub, which I don't agree. Being a debutant and starting on the bench, but he came on late in the third, played all the fourth, and showed really good signs for a youngster. But Tom Stewart played incredibly well, as what he always does. Despite all the crowd getting into him. Jezza played a different role the night, played a bit higher up on the ground. Tommy Hawkins was looking good until he gave away a few free kicks, and then Noah Boulder kind of worked out his game plan and got the best of Tommy at some stages. But look, I'm not too upset. We're 5-4. We're kind of still trying to work it out. We're doing most things right. We just got to get it gelled all together, and hopefully we can beat Freo this week, which will be a test because they had a good win against the Swans at the SCG, which I think we'll talk about a bit more.
Well, yeah, so I was just about to touch on the Freo game. Freo got it done over Sydney at the SCG. Surprisingly, they beat them there by 17 points. So I suppose a couple of questions for you guys then. Sydney have now lost 4 in a row. Is there worrying signs there for the Swans?
Absolutely.
I think so. I think, Connor, you said that the last game Sydney won, was that against us?
Yeah, against a really depleted Richmond side, so they haven't beaten
who were in it until the last quarter, and obviously Papley ran away and kicked 5, or something like that. But yeah, if that, when you look back at it and think that's their last win they had, they are in a bit of trouble here, right now.
I thought for that game, I thought this is a must win for Sydney to just get back on track, just to be okay, we're the team that everyone thinks we are. We're that close to winning the premiership last year. Let's get back on track. Let's push for top 4 at home against Freo, who aren't doing the best this year at all. But disappointing loss. Losing Cal Mills early on was obviously, not helpful. But a lot of worrying signs. That's all I can say really. I mean, they're just not really working well together. Not enough experience. I think injuries are obviously hurting them, like many teams. But I think they got a lot to work out.
Since their win, the following week Geelong murdered them, 93 points. And I mean, they've played Collingwood and lost to them, which is probably fair enough, respectable. But lose to Giants by a point was one they really shouldn't have lost. With Toby Green kicking that match winner. And Freo, another one they've dropped, and they really couldn't afford it. I don't know where they're sitting on the ladder right now, but it's
like 15th or something.
14th or 15th.
I think it's definitely worrying sort of signs.
Yeah, I'm always one that's had a lot of faith in Sydney because not often they're in this position, but when they are, they respond, and they've been a really consistent side. But
they've been in this kind of position before. They won, I think, 6 straight after losing 6 straight in a particular year. I can't remember.
Yeah, they can do it, but they've got some injuries. Like obviously down back, both McCartan boys are out at the moment, and Rampy, and I think they're only going to get Tom McCartan back soon. Paddy potentially career done, and Rampy out for a while, but it doesn't help as well. Callum Mills out for a month. Logan McDonald out for 2 months, I think. Yeah. And Buddy, but they have to keep playing Buddy, but he can't really get a kick at the moment. He's just a few steps slower than what he was and really struggling. But guys like Chad Warner as well, not playing well. Errol Goulden playing really well, but everyone's just down a bit on previous years, and they're going to have to find a way to get it going a bit.
And if they are to find a way and sort of go alright towards the end of end of the year, if they're to turn it around, the next few games are must-wins. They've got North Melbourne this week, can't lose that. Then they've got Carlton, which they must win that as well, which I just looked at the odds and they're literally both $1.90 for that one. And then they've got a bye before they have Saints and Brisbane. So before those sort of games after the bye, they need to capitalise and can't afford to.
Yeah, it's not particularly an easy fixture. I mean,
they need to.
North's a must. They have to just win that.
And Carlton is a must as well.
Yeah, I reckon too. Yeah.
So we'll see how we go, but...
Yeah, well, if we flip the script now to the Dockers, they've won their last couple, I believe, and are they turning the corner? Are they back in that finals window? Owen, we'll start with you.
Oh, I think they're turning the corner slowly. It's not all teams kind of had the answers straight away, so I think they're kind of working it out at this stage of the year. I don't know what their fixture is in the next month or so, but if they keep winning these games that are kind of 50-50. I can see them pushing for 8, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I think their next few are pretty tough. So far what they've done is been good and sort of much needed, because they've got Geelong, Melbourne, by then Tigers, who by then hopefully, you just look at Geelong and Melbourne, 2 of the top 3 or 4 teams in the comp, and Richmond have the potential, depending on what day you get them on, to play a decent game as well. So it'll sort of, a bit like Sydney, the next few games will sort of decide their fortune, I reckon. They need to sort of continue on and maybe win one of those tough ones against either Geelong, Melbourne, or
Yeah, well, we're not going to touch on Carlton because I think everyone's doing that this week. But we are gonna go to another game. We're going to go to the Crows and Saints on Sunday, and the Crows with a 52-point win over St Kilda, plus 92 disposals and plus 48 marks against the team who's the second best marking team in the competition. My question to you boys is are the Crows the sleeping giant? I think they might just be in the 8, or they're just outside the 8. But
I think they're 8th. Yeah.
Yeah, but they've claimed some scalps this year. How do we see them going?
Definitely a wild card, I think. I think they proved that, not just beating the Saints, but they got close to Collingwood.
They nearly beat us.
Before
we sort of.
I think definitely a wild card. I think they'll make 8. Yeah, for sure. Not top 4, but 8, and again, they could be like that Bulldogs team in 2016. Compete against the teams that are really qualifying for the premiership, but really convincing for the Crows to beat the Saints at home. They're working really well as a team. Rochelle and Tex, and a lot of the guys, even their midfield's really strong. Laird and Dawson playing really good job in the midfield. So everything's going well for the Crows at the moment.
Yeah, the fact that they maintained their form, and their game plan for the best part of 10 rounds says that the game style that they're playing is sustainable. And yeah, you touch on they've lost a couple really close games. Not sure how they didn't beat Collingwood. To be honest, with the situation they found themselves in, but although they dropped outside the 8 for a bit, they didn't really drop off in form. It was more just close losses, I guess. But I think Mark Robinson come out and said that he reckons they can win the flag, and it's a bit far-fetched, I think. He says a lot of things, but it's just, I guess, praise for how they're going. Whether they can or not, I think they could definitely make the finals and go from there. But yeah, just a really dangerous side and very hard to beat at Adelaide Oval. You'd like to see how they go a bit more in Melbourne. Obviously, they don't play down here too often, but they've got every chance to win when they play at Adelaide, and hopefully they can sort of flick the script interstate as well.
Yeah, I just want to say, like you boys mentioned, the Crows they're showing a lot more than I think they have in recent times. And I just looked at the ladder position since 2017, since they played off in the granny, and it was like 11th, 12th, and then 18th, 15th and 14th, I think, in the years since then. And I'm going to come out and say that this year I'm the most confident I've been in their side and them playing each week since 2017, I think. And I think that this year people actually do have a bit more faith in them. I was probably surprised by the odds and how many people were giving. I know it was over in Adelaide, but with Saints the way they've been playing, lots of people did give Adelaide still tipped them and give them a good chance. And I think there's no real side, especially at Adelaide Oval right now, where you'd give Adelaide no chance against. I think they're competitive and they're having a go, and when they're playing well, they're right amongst the mix. And yeah, I think they could definitely make finals.
Hugo, anything to worry about for the Saints?
There's a few things that I'm getting a little bit worried about, but I don't think it's a major cause for concern yet. I think, as Ross said in his press conference after the game, it was a bit of a mulligan for the Saints. It was pretty ordinary effort, pretty ordinary sort of foot skills, were just sloppy around the ball. So, I think that was a bit of a mulligan. And, I think, I can't remember who we've got. We've got Giants this week, so, you should hopefully chalk up a win. But, we've been sort of on the down in recent weeks. But Max King will return this week, so, look out for that. He's going to win the Coleman, that's all right. I think St Kilda will get a few players back this week from injury, which will help strengthen the team. And, you mentioned the little minus 98, I think you said.
Minus 92.
92 in disposals. That I'm not really concerned about that. We beat Carlton, and they had plus 100 and something disposals on us. We're not a very high disposal team. We sort of try to turn the ball over and go from there. Bit like Richmond back in their heyday. But I'm not too concerned about St Kilda just yet.
Yeah. Well, you obviously mentioned about GWS. They had 29 tackles against Collingwood on Sunday, only 2 in the second quarter. But we'll move on to round 10 action. The start of Sir Doug Nicholls round, which we'll see over the next fortnight. But basically, boys, we'll get your quick tips and your certainties. Start off with the games. We've got Port Melbourne Friday night. Then we've got North and Sydney and Dogs Adelaide on Saturday afternoon. Freo and Geelong Saturday twilight. Brisbane Gold Coast and the Q clash on Saturday night, as well as the Dreamtime clash between Essendon and Richmond. On Sunday afternoon, we've got Hawthorn West Coast, Carlton Collingwood at the G, and GWS and Kilda to round out the round. Owen, if you want to start off with your tips.
Yeah, well, first of all, this round looks really good. A lot of great matchups. So can't wait for it. Friday night, I'm going to go Port to beat Melbourne at Adelaide Oval. Saturday, I'm going to go Swans over North, and that's my certainty. Swans have to win to get back into it. Another good game here. I'm going to go Dogs over Crows, just because it's at Mars Stadium, and the Dogs, they're looking really good, like the Crows, winning these good games. Got to go Cats over Freo, Brisbane over Gold Coast. I'm going to go Essendon over Richmond. I think Essendon are due for a win, and I think they can produce the goods. Hawthorn over West Coast, Collingwood over Carlton, and the Saints over GWS.
Yep, Connor.
I'll go Melbourne over Port. Obviously, that should be probably the game of the round. Port are going well. Sydney will beat North Melbourne, and they have to really, but they will. They'll do it. Western Bulldogs will beat Adelaide, but should be another really close game down in Ballarat, that one. So Geelong will beat Fremantle. I actually reckon Gold Coast might cause an upset and beat Brisbane for one of the first times ever. They don't beat them too often. But I just got a little feeling, so I'm going to go the Gold Coast.
Well, they beat him in the first Q clash, so I wouldn't say they
Yeah,
don't beat him too often.
Well, Gold Coast don't. Well, they don't beat them too often. They haven't won for a long time against Brisbane.
Okay.
So, whatever. But, whatever, Mansell. Richmond will beat Essendon, playing better currently. Hawthorn will beat West Coast in the game of the year. Collingwood will beat Carlton. And St Kilda will beat GWS, and I'm going to go St Kilda, my certainty.
I'll go Port to beat Melbourne, Swans to beat North, but I think you might see a closer game than we think with the whole Clarko thing going on. That might give a bit of an emotional lift for North. I'll go Doggies over Crows, Freo over the Cats at home, Brizzy over Gold Coast, but the Suns are starting to tick along nicely. Tigers over Essendon, Hawthorn over West Coast for the battle for Harley Reid. Collingwood over Carlton, and I'll make that my certainty. And I'll go Saints over the Giants.
I like it. I like it.
I'll key it off. D's to beat Port Adelaide. I rate the D's. Sydney will beat North despite the Clarko carry on. Adelaide win against the Dogs. Cats will win comfortably against Freo. Brisbane win against Gold Coast. Gold Coast have a crack. Tigers will get it done over the Bombers. Hawthorn will win against West Coast, which will be grim, but they'll get it done. Pies should win easy, and then you back the Saints to beat the Giants, despite it being at Giants Stadium.
And your certainty?
Will be... I'm rattled.
He's got it wrong in the past.
Sydney over North.
Okay.
Oh, he's like it.
Alright.
Yeah, North, I think, whenever coaches, something happens with a coach in AFL, the side always plays well that week, but Sydney, they have to win. I think one of my certainties might have been Sydney wrong.
Yeah,
Sydney GWS.
At one point.
But there's
One point, but I said Sydney have to win that, and they didn't. I'm going to say Sydney have to beat North Melbourne. They can't lose.
Yeah, there's a bit going on for both parties
Touch
there,
wood.
so should be an interesting game. But Mansell, quickly, I just want to say, mate, Brisbane Lions versus Gold Coast head-to-head. Brisbane 17, Gold Coast 6.
Yeah.
Last 5, Brisbane have won. So Gold Coast haven't beaten them for 5 years, mate.
Well, not 5 years, because they play twice a year, so...
Oh, they 5 years. 5 years. No, they don't play two times
Yeah,
every
they do.
year.
They play 2 times every year. Every derby, they play twice a year.
3.
Unless during COVID, they played twice a year.
Yeah, well...
Don't mess with the stat news.
3 years, mate. Whatever. But they don't beat them very often, clearly, mate. So you're off there.
Anyway, Owen, let's get to some Supercoach.
Alrighty. I think we'll quickly just go to the results. I beat Hugo by about 100 points. But the biggest story of the week, and he's upset about it, that is Blair. But Connor has got his first win for the season, with winning with 1,652 points, a pretty low score.
It's like JMAC versus JMAC.
Defeating Blair by, 21 points.
My second 21-point loss, one against Hugo.
Yeah, it is incredible. Connor, you are now 1 win, 8 losses. If you just keep winning these games now, you got your first win. If you just keep winning a couple more, you're that close to Blair.
To be fair, mate, you're not going to win many games with 1,650.
True, you won.
It's just great to get a bit of reward for effort, I think. I made probably 6 or 7 trades every week just to try to make it work.
That's your issue.
No, but make it work and fill things in because it wasn't working how it was. But No, it's just reward for me, and hopefully I can take a few scalps as we go along. But I feel like I've been better the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks, and 1-8 is certainly better than 0-9. So I'm happy with that, and looked like I wasn't going to get a win there for a bit. So
Well, you got me this week, Connor, so that'll be an ultimate test.
yeah, it will be
Back to reality, champ.
back to
a big test. But if I can make it back to back, then everyone sits up and takes notice. So
yeah, I reckon.
Well,
See how we go.
you only have to be in the top 4 at the end of the season to contend for the premiership. So,
yeah, you're right. You're right, man. So I'm playing finals footy, so I'm happy either way.
It was charity, mate. Callum Mills 4.
Jacob
4
Hopper,
points.
28 or
Yeah,
30.
I'll take a 28 or 30.
43.
Yeah, he's trying to.
Yeah.
He's trying to keep that going.
Oh, actually, yeah, that's probably the difference between the sides. But
21 points and
Win
Callum
some.
Mills gets me 4. So
you win some, you win
in my
some. champ.
bench, 101, 104, 95, 120.
What were they playing? Harris Andrews, my bench, 122. Hugh McCloug's 98. What goes around comes around.
You didn't have a player to get 4, so you're fortunate, mate. Count your lucky stars. That's the only way you're getting a win on the board this year, mate. Your team is shit.
Dixon did not play, so I was missing players. Why was Dixon not playing?
Well, you probably got 120 from him. Put him on the bench, mate.
No, he didn't play.
Move on.
Anyway, let's move on. But Connor, overall, well done for getting your first win. Hopefully that boosts the confidence levels up.
Lift your spirits a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you don't have to give up on yourself.
I think it will. A bit like Richmond, we're coming good at the right time, and I think we can do some damage this year.
yeah.
All right, man. So a bit of NBA talk. Obviously, the finals are happening. The conference finals are happening actually. Boston lost today against Miami in game 1.
Yeah.
But a couple other, not a couple. There's a big news story actually with the draft lottery happening the other day. Yeah, man. So
Well, so in the Victor Wembanyama Cup, the Spurs won that and secured the number 1 pick. To a sea of jubilation, I think, up and about. Some are saying he's probably the best prospect since LeBron James. So yeah, it's an option. Like, it could grow well. I think for the Spurs, they just need a ball feeder for Wemby and go from there. So
all I will say is the last pick 1 that the Spurs had was Tim Duncan, and look how good he was. So.
yeah.
It's massive for Spurs. He's an absolute, he's going to be, hopefully without any injuries. I can't even say his name. What's his name?
Just call him Wemby.
Wemby, just Wemby. Just call him Wemby.
Wembanyama.
A ridiculous physique on him and the skill set he has. If I think Spurs, if they, you hope that they pick him. But yeah, he's going to be, generational talent. Hugo, what do you reckon?
Oh, it's massive for the Spurs. Their previous 2 number 1 picks, obviously, were Tim Duncan and David Robinson, and they're both absolute all-time greats. So the Spurs, if anyone is going to almost as good as confirm a generational talent, it would be the Spurs. Pop probably going to coach an extra couple of years now that he's got Wemby, but no, it was not good to see. But Spurs get number 1 pick. Hopefully, it's good for the game.
For the game.
19 years of age, 2 meters 19. Saw a couple of his highlights, and yeah, just.
It's like Kevin Durant, but taller.
Kid doesn't have much meat on him, but geez,
Bit like
some
you.
of his.
Him and cheat code.
Yeah, if I had 3 of them stacked on top of my head, but no, I watched one of his highlights, missed the 3 and just ran in and dunked it from the rebound. But yeah, he can play, shoot, and just when I looked at I've seen a few of his highlights and that. Yeah, he'll be a very good player.
Yeah. We'll move on to the conference semis. We'll review those, and as expected, Denver got it done in 6 games over Phoenix. So did the Lakers over Golden State, and Miami got it done over New York in the same amount of games. But the Boston Celtics get it done over Philly, 3-2 down, backs against the wall. Managed to get Game 6 away despite Tatum not showing up for the first 3.5 quarters.
It's alright, he dropped 17 in 4 minutes, mate, it's okay.
Yeah, which got us over the line, and then dropped 51 in Game 7. Connor, You were talking shit about the Celtics last week.
It does say on the running sheet, sucked in Connor. So
yeah. So what are your thoughts on the rest of that series and how that panned out?
Well, yeah. Look, I did talk shit, and I'll probably continue to. This doesn't define me, and that certainly doesn't affect my attitude towards the Boston Celtics. But look, they've done well. Well, 3-2. It wasn't looking great for them. They've done well to come back, and obviously through Tatum and a few others, they were able to do that. But they've gone down in the first game against Miami, and I think it might be where you've had your fun, mate, and it might stop here. But I don't know. You never know. They're probably due to actually win a championship. They've looked good for a few years and fallen short, so we'll leave that option open. But I really hope they don't, and I hope Miami can win, and they're off to a great start through playoff Jimmy.
Well, I think the difference in the Al Horford is you idiot. Anyway, speaking about the whole Al Horford thing, I did say that Robert Williams needed to start, and they took him out and they put him in, took Derek White out, which was the right call in the end. Robert Williams needs to play some minutes, and I think that's what needs to happen. I'm not reading that out, whatever you say. But yeah, I think Robert Williams does need to start. He did start game one, but I think he needs to be in the predominant centre. I think they need to sacrifice putting Al Horford on the bench and using the depth at guard. You've got Derek White, you've got Jaylen Brown, you've got Malcolm Brogdon, Marcus Smart. Pritchard's even playing some minutes nowadays. I think we need to. Get them playing and even for the second.
He needs to go. Just retirement. But I know.
I fear the worst. I thought you meant to the grave for a minute.
Nothing personal against
End that. No.
But
he's no.
I'm sure he's a great bloke. He must be if he's getting selected because he's not a very good player. So must be a good bloke. But did Al Horford start last game as well? Him and Robert Williams.
Yeah, they both did.
Oh well, that's your issue right there. That's why you don't get it done against Miami if those boys are starting.
It's been a good start to the conference finals. Yeah. Lakers lost by 6 points, but they put up a good fight. Jokic, incredible performance. I don't think he'll be doing that every game, so it gives you a bit of confidence as a team.
Yeah, I think the Lakers not figured out, but sort of figured out a way to sort of not stop, but what's the word?
Minimise.
Minimise. In the second half, he only dropped 2 points in the final quarter. Jokic, when Hachimura went on to him and AD went the roaming spare defender, and was able to use his length to get out. If they kicked it to the three, he was able to get out there quick enough to
the third man for the spoil.
Well, yeah, if you like, you want to go footy on it, but yeah. No, he was able to get out to the three quick enough and was able to also stay in the post and get a 2-on-1 on Joker, which was very effective. Having said that, though, Denver will probably try to find a way around it, 7 games.
They kind of had the upper hand for the whole game.
Yeah.
You kind of stuck around, but just not enough. But, again, high-scoring game, and I definitely think Lakers will pose a threat.
It's going to be a good
series. Yeah, it will. And obviously with today as well, big win for Miami away to get the first win. Jimmy Butler, again, does what he does best. I think 36 points, 6 steals, I think, which was a very impressive stat, especially late on, getting those clutch steals. Worrying signs, Mansell, for Boston, or do you think just bounce back from it?
Yeah, well, it's obviously not ideal losing your first game at home, but we have been in this position before. We have had some tight encounters with them over the sort of the last couple of years at this time of year, and they don't end straight away. They go to the distance, so they might have won the battle, but it's a matter of winning the war. And I think pretty much just got to minimise Jimmy Butler's impact. If we can play a defensive game, then I think we're on top, and I think that Boston will. I think Boston will get over the line, and I still have every confidence.
Simple equation: stop Jimmy Butler, you're most likely going to go through it.
Just quickly, Mansell, you did give Connor some stick for his prediction.
I love how you do this, but after every episode now, it's a little thing with you. He remembers these stuff.
You did double down on some comments last week about a certain series involving the Lakers and the Warriors.
There you go.
And a certain comment about LeBron James.
Oh, he did.
He took this to heart.
Yeah.
He took this. I took this personally.
About LeBron being clamped up. And the Lakers needing LeBron James to go back to his 2016 prime self to win the series. That game was over in six. The series was over in 6 games.
Yeah.
Warriors only won 2.
Yeah.
Steph was pathetic. Would you like to rescind those comments now?
I would like to rephrase those comments, right? If I think I have seen them a bit more and know that their depth are able to do it, like they are able to do it. So the hindrance, there's not as much hindrance on LeBron, to do his bit. But that being said, right, it's going to take more than LeBron to win the series.
Oh, I agree with that.
Yeah, it's going to take more than him, and it's about finding those role players and everything like that. I still will say that I would take Denver's starting 5 over the Lakers starting 5. I reckon they're more well-rounded. They might not be the biggest names, but I reckon they're more well-rounded. Probably because they've played more together than what the Lakers have. You guys have sort of just... I mean, as much as it's good to see what you guys are doing, you have sort of just chucked pieces together at the trade deadline and gone from there, if that makes sense. So in terms of being able to gel it together, I just think that the experience of Denver's starting 5 will be the difference in this series.
It's a fair enough opinion, but you're wrong, but it's fair enough. Before we end, we do need a certainty.
We do.
He's always hot on that one too.
Yeah, I can't see the Celtics losing game 2 against the Heat at home.
Come on, Jimmy.
Jimmy Buckets.
I know I'm fighting fire with fire, but I just think, for what Boston have done this year and the way what they've been about, I just can't see them, losing it all just to lose 2 games at home. I mean, yeah, sure, it's going to be a fight against Miami, but I think Miami are going to have to win games at home as well to get it done, and I just can't see them stealing the second game in a row against the Celtics.
There you have it.
There you go.
Right,
Yeah.
Heard it here first.
Here first. Hopefully, Jimmy has an incredible performance.
50-point game would be nice.
That'd be perfect.
Well, set up.
But that's it for the episode. It's been a great one. Boys, thanks for joining. Thank you to listeners and viewers out there. Make sure to check us on the socials. We'll catch you all next week.
Set up.